Hi, I'm Venus O'Hara and welcome to another video, the first Q&A video of the year. And Q&A videos are back every Friday at 9 p.m. my time in Europe. Today I'm going to talk about friends with benefits. It's such a juicy topic and I'm going to read briefly. Before I go into that, little disclaimer, I am not a therapist, I'm not a sexologist. I am a sex toy reviewer and expert. I've been creating content about sexuality for the last 14 years. If you need a professional, I highly recommend you to go to a professional, and my opinions are just opinions based on my opinions and experiences. So let me go into the letter. Also, another thing I want to say is that if you do write to me, it's venus@venusohara.org. I will not reveal any identifying circumstances or your name or anything, so rest assured that your questions to me are completely anonymous. So let's dive into this question, friends with benefits. Okay. A woman has written to me and she had a conversation with a male friend last week and she said, "We are both currently single and missing sex. I know the feeling. And we flirted with the idea of us becoming friends with benefits, aka fuck buddies, until we start new relationships. The idea was to see if we could meet each other's sexual needs and maybe also try new things without judgment or embarrassment. Have you had this kind of experience before or know anyone who did? And any advice about it?" Well, thank you so much for this question. I've definitely had many situations of friends with benefits, some more beneficial than others and some more friends than others, if you see what I mean. And I think it's a fantastic arrangement if you both are clear about what the arrangement is, what the intention is, and really communicate about it. I've had some good experiences with this, and I've also had some that have ended up being a little bit complicated. For example, one of my best situations was with someone who I consider to be my male equivalent, and it was incredible. We used to have this arrangement for many years. So whenever we were both single, we would meet up. And if we were in partnerships with other people, we would avoid meeting just to avoid any temptation. And the fact was, there was a great friendship, a genuine friendship. So we didn't need to have sex to actually enjoy this friendship. And a lot of people around us used to ask us, "Why aren't you together?" And for me, I think I found him so similar to me that there wasn't that emotional attraction there. I did find I was enjoying all of my fantasies and all of those things, which was wonderful until we both kind of started seeing other people that could give us things that we couldn't give each other. And I think it can be an excellent situation to be in, especially, as you say, to actually enjoy things that you would like to live. Because sometimes the emotional component, I mean, it's not always necessary to have the emotional commitment and all of that to have good intimate sex. I think a friends with benefits situation can be great because you really trust them, and sometimes you can be more open with someone who you think is your friend rather than your lover. That's not ideal, but sometimes it can be like that. The bad side of it, which is can happen many times, is that over time it can get to the point where one of you wants more than the other. And that happens in lots of these situations. But what's happened to me more recently is that because sometimes you choose this type of arrangement, let's say a friends with benefits situation with someone that's not quite ticking all of your boxes for, let's say, a committed relationship. So you start this arrangement with sex and friendship, and then over time what can happen is that the sex can gradually become more affectionate, and the friendliness can become more affectionate as well and more loving. And then you can end up in a situation that you're kind of falling in love with someone who at the beginning you wouldn't have chosen, someone who didn't tick your boxes at the beginning. And that can be great if that's what you both want. But what I found is that I've ended up in a kind of emotional situation with someone who was not quite right on many other more cerebral levels that were important outside of the bedroom. And then it's ended up lasting way too long. I remember I've been in a situation where I had a friend with benefit situation, lots of friendship, and then we had sex, and I thought, I'm going to shag him a couple more times and I'm going to end it. Ended up being a few years. And then I always had this thing about, this is not quite right. This situation is not quite right. And if you're in a situation of something being not quite right, then you're not holding space for the next person, which takes me to what you're saying. Friends with benefits until we start new relationships. Sometimes it's not that easy to press stop on something and say, okay, I found the new relationship now, you're out of my life. Sometimes these things can be a lot more messy than that, a lot more nuanced as well. So that's something I would consider. But if there's nothing else happening in your life right now, why not? I mean, knowing all of this stuff, it wouldn't stop me from going ahead and doing it, especially if there's an obvious attraction there and an intention of being friendly. Because I think it's sometimes what I've enjoyed with one friend with benefit who was a genuine friend the whole time is that we were so honest with each other, even with attractions to other people, which is something that I'm not quite comfortable with. If I'm in an emotional relationship with someone, I just can't get on board with that. I respect people who can do that. I admire them. But for me, I'm just like, if I'm in your bed, I'm in your bed and there's no one else kind of thing. I like to have all the attention. But when the friends with benefits situation, it was genuinely that. And I think it's definitely something that's worth. I think it's better to have a friend with benefit than a series of one-night stands with someone who just doesn't care about you. So if that's the only thing available to you in a kind of non-emotional scenario, then I would say it's a great thing. But just you have to be aware about if you are looking for a relationship, then it's probably best. It's always better to kind of hold space for that rather than just giving into whatever is around. I think that's true anyway. And also it can end up where one of you likes it more than the other, and it can get messy. Yay! So anyway, those are my thoughts on friends with benefits, and I'm sure more people will have other things to add to this because it can be a great thing. And I would love a friend with benefits right now. I'm not quite ready for a relationship, but I would love to enjoy different things with someone, and I think it's something that I'm definitely open to. Even though I've had good and not so good experiences in the past, I think it's definitely something that I am tempted to explore as well. So what about you? Have you had a friend with benefits? What advice would you give? And tell us the good, the bad, and the ugly about friends with benefits. We would love to hear in the comment section below. And I'll be back next week answering a different question. And if you have any questions for me, don't hesitate to write to me at venus@venusohara.org. And I'll be back next Friday with the next Q&A. Thanks for watching.